Welcome to yet another new episode of Indo-Bangla Times Business Calcalling TV, which will be simultaneously aired on Headlines Tripura to be seen across northeastern states. Today we have with us Mr. Sunil Singhi, a qualified chartered accountant, partner V. Singhi and Associates. But more than that, he has been working for more than 2.5 decades, working in areas of taxation, information system audit, banking, business analyst, in fact, wide range of subjects, startup ecosystem, promoting entrepreneurship, statutory and concurrent audit of banks, so on and so forth. So today we are having this discussion at a time when we are expecting, let's say, yet another union budget is just round the corner.
Yes.
So, as a seasoned campaigner, as a seasoned chartered accountant, working in so many areas, what would be your key expectations from this budget?
Key expectation from the budget is like there will be a reforms again for the industries as well as the banking sector also. Because banking sectors also we need the credit and the growth of this credit with the investment plan, and also with the retail investors they should get the loan amount also. So I think there will be a reform with the monetary policy as well as in the taxation. Direct tax may be a part of the again a reform, because last time Nirmala Sitaram ji, our minister, she said about the direct tax code and direct tax reform. So I think there will be a good reforms, and there will be a tax benefits for the corporates as well as for the industry as a whole.
So what kind of benefits you are looking at?
It's like a tax exemption, tax rates, and certain new tax regime which they have introduced. There may be a certain tax rate may be reduced, and also GST parallels. There may be a new regime for the tax GST regimes also. There may be a new tax slabs, or also maybe for a textile sectors. I think there may be some scheme for the benefit of the textile sectors.
So you mentioned about loan growth and all that. 2024 have been kind of year for the banking sector where there are still concerns about loan growth. In fact, if you look at it, banking sector is looking at a significant jump in terms of loan growth or credit deposit credit deposit ratio. So what would be your take on this? Are you also looking at a loan growth or a reversal of the trend that we saw in 2024?
No, I'm agree with you that the 2024 there was something in that way, but in the next year there may be a growth due to there is a retail and industrial growth is there in India, and there may be due to global crisis in the first phase of 24. Maybe there was a loan growth is not in that way which was expected in last year by the government and by the monetary policies also. Due to RBI monetary policies, stringent policies, maybe loan growth is not too much in the last year, but as the retail is growing and our industries are going and corporate are looking for the loan growth, so I am thinking in that way the bank is going to have a greater prospects about loan growth as well as the deposits also in that way.
So on what basis? One, you mentioned about the retail growth. So is there any concrete basis of your thought process that next year will be a kind of reverse?
Concrete is like that our Modi government says that there is a Viksit Bharat. Viksit Bharat means there should be a growth of the industry as well as a small and medium enterprises also. So once the small and medium enterprises will grow and better, then your industry will also grow in this respect. So what is there, you can say they require the funds, and that also in the circular trend you can say they can borrow the money from the bankers also. So there is a part of loan growth along with your corporate sector or industry sectors are growing by one. So it's not that the industry will grow without the loan growth. So there is a loan growth as well as the industry growth. if there is our economy is growing, so it will be a loan growth will also be there.
So they are interlinked.
They are interlinked.
Last year, loan to micro credit or microfinance organizations also dipped significantly. So this year, are you expecting a change in that also? Change for the better?
Change for the better, you can say that's due to monetary policy stringent rules. We have seen that there is a loan growth in the micro small sectors are not too great in that way. But I think after such a restrictions, every bankers and every sectors of micro and small enterprises have understand what to do and how to go ahead. It's not that everybody will get the loan without having some project behind them and underlying assets or underlying projects. Say assets means does not means the assets for mortgage. Yes, assets means the industry or maybe something like that which can add value to the industry as well as the economy.
So what you said is very important, and this also reflects that there was some kind of concerns about asset quality as well. You mentioned repeatedly.
Definitely, assets quality. You have seen that from last 20 years also. There is a NPA is the lowest part of the banker side in 2024. I think so. So there is a assets risk is there. Loan, if they are giving the loan, if you are providing any borrowings to lenders and borrowings to the this organization, whether it is MSME, whether it is high end or high corporates or industries, but you have to take that risk. But now it's a NPA is not no more in that way, but there is a risk of non-performing assets, you can say. But it will be your business is with the risk of the performing assets and non-performing assets.
So with loan growth come the risk factor or the concern over asset quality, but one will have to take that risk in order to boost the economy.
So there will be every day there is a business risk. So banks are also doing the business. Banks are also helping the growth of the economy. So they have to take this risk also. It's not that they are, but they are also 50% they have insured or their assets also. In that way they are covered with them also. And now the insolvency is there, NCLT is doing this wherever there is a non-performing asset. So there is a chances of recovery is also there.
So all these NCLT or whatever the process that the government has initiated, that has actually helped in NPAs coming down. And
yes, it's due to that also it's a NPA coming down, and also they have given the one-time settlement process also there, and the RBI also given this process that the lenders can approach the borrowers to settle those issues. If they can settle, then they have this type of limits also in that way, which was earlier not there. So you can say that makes sense to the industry to revamp in that way, to do the business with the bankers also in that.
You mentioned about MSME sector in particular. MSME is one sector which, despite contributing handsomely to our GDP, the problem is most of the MSMEs, they suffer from some kind of funds crunch. I mean, while giving loan or funding to MSME, some kind of khich-khichahat is there. So
it will be there because due to geographical situation of our India, you can say the MSME is facing this. We are urban, more than urban people are our rural peoples. Rural people are MSME and SME sectors. So they are also adding value to the economy in that way. So our major concern in MSME or SME, not in the higher this thing. So they are contributing now, whether they are aware or not. That is the most important issue. So the government is making them aware. Our institute also making them aware. So many people or many professionals are making them aware about the MSME schemes floated by the government of India in this aspect or by the state government. And also banks are also making them aware about how they can get the loans without any collateral, maybe like 50 lakhs, maybe like 1 crore or 5 crores or maybe more, in the way they will project their projects, how they are going to increase or growth their business and how to do business. If there is any benefit to them, then it will be like this only. So while awareing the MSME sectors, we can get this loan growth as well as the, you can say, industry growth also. So it's not that MSME is not getting the funds, they are not aware about these funds. So we have to make them aware about the schemes, what the government is giving and what the banking can give you. It's not that you are saying that I am not getting. How many people have applied for? We have to look into in that way also.
There is a kind of perception that when some big industry, big business, they take loan, they fly away, and MSMEs, although they get lesser part of the loan, they normally tend to give back whatever loan they have taken. So how far this is true, and is there any mechanism to ensure that the NPAs come down even further?
No, I will say in two sectors. First, if you are a professional, if you are well managed, you will place your project in a good manner to the bankers, who will decide whether they will provide any loans to these sectors or not. So the big industry or big corporates or big sectors, they produce their projects in a very good manners to the presentable, you can say, or sellable, this type of projects. So they are
Presentation is good.
Presentation is good. Now if the presentation is good, you can convince the board also to give the loans, and this lending is there. Now with the MSME sector, they are unorganized, they are not covered by the professionals in that way. So they have to grow this professional skills also, and they have to get the help of the professional peoples, including any banking advisors also, in that way to get these loans. So this is a different issue. Now whether these are creating a non-performing assets, I will say it's not that. Everybody is borrowing for their growth as well as to add value to the economy. Right. It's not everybody is borrowing to waive off these loans. So not for a NPA, it's a risk analysis there. There are certain criteria by the bankers where we take that a risk analysis. So if it is a high risk, whether this can be given, if it is yes, if it is a you can say priority sectors, yes, risk is higher, though higher risk we have to lend them. If it is not a priority sector, if the risk is very high, no, the banker will not lend any money to the borrowers. That is to be looked into. So okay, it's not that the non-performing assets or any sectors, they are not it. It's that in India you can see the textile sector is not doing well, but they are getting the loans and they are getting the borrowers also in that way. So it's not that agriculture sector, unorganized sector, but the bankers are lending them. So it doesn't mean that whether assets is risk assets or not, whether the performing assets are not. It's whether you are borrowing for the purpose of yourself or for the purpose of the industry, and you are doing your best and you are presenting your best, so you will get the loans.
Your fundamentals will have to be strong.
So yes, fundamentals have to be strong, and those people who are borrowing this, they are also to be good in that structure.
And from your long experience, in fact, almost 28 years, 27 years, so do you see any perceptible change on part of the MSMEs to engage professionals like you, or so that their project report is thoroughly professional, it's bankable, and they get loan? And as you mentioned about awareness, the awareness can best be created by these professionals being engaged within the organizational ecosystem.
So you will agree with me that government is doing very well for the awareness of this program. Also, I like to state that we are also associated with the Northeast government, with the Assam government as well as Meghalaya government and Arunachal government with respect to MSME and startup sectors. So we, on behalf of the government, we are awareing them that how they can get this funds and how they can run the business and how can they manage the show. It's not that they are not aware, and now if they are aware, they are getting the help from the professional like us or any other persons. They are getting the help from the other persons also.
So you mentioned that the institute is also engaged in awareness building exercises.
Yes, not only the central government, state has also to be introduced their awareness program. Otherwise, how the state will increase their economy and how they will grow also. So it's both the part, not only the central and only the central. It's a state government also responsible for the awareness about the MSME sector, because MSME is a huge sector in the industry in that way.
Coming down further below, the Indian economy is also thriving on a strong startup ecosystem in different parts of the country.
Yes.
So are they being also made, the aware of the importance of professionals and taking loans, because loan is an integral part of business growth.
It's not only the startup is taking the loan, startup also looking for the investments portfolios.
Funding.
So it's like there is a scheme of loans, there is also seed funding, and there is also private equities. So startup are looking on all these three. First they borrow the money, they get the seed funding. Now if they grow, they looking after for the private equity. So there is a three phases in the startup, you can say. Once they invested their own money, something they grow and their development in the business, make their understanding about the business, then they approach to the bankers and the seed funders. So with the scheme of the startups, they are getting the funds from the seed funders like IIM Innovation Park, like other incubators, investors. They are getting the funds in case you can say as a equity, also as a borrowing also, along with the bankers' borrowings. So they are growing. If they grow and they have a huge value addition to their assets and their assets value are increasing, they are looking for the private equity also. So there is a startup is also there. Yes, you can say 15,000 are there startups. Out of 15,000, maybe 5,000 may flourish, or maybe 10,000 flourish, or all 15,000. It's depend on their commitment to the society, commitment to the business, commitment to the growth of the economy. It's all depend on their perception, how they are looking their business in that way.
But many times there is a kind of aversion on part of be it MSME or startup that if we engage some professionals, that will eat into our cost. And
so professionals are professionals. Say if you have a good, you can say as a family, your grandfather is there, your father is there, yourself is there. You have a 3 layers. Now the grandfather can guide you better than your father also, and you have to take the exposures or experience of your father as well as your grandfather, how we can go ahead in your business. Similarly, once you are in the business, you whether you know about the world scenario, global scenario, or international as well as domestic scenario, you may be present at a particular local sectors, but you need to know about the other players also outside your local place. So who will give you all those benefits? Your professional can give you the benefits which will add on to your value. It's maybe a certain fees, but if you calculate that fees is not in the single, you can say in a cost analysis, it will not be more than 0.5% of your total cost. You have to calculate it, because we have to look into the future of next 5 years. If you have calculated for 5 years, it will not your professional fees you are paying to the professionals or any other advisors, then it is not more than 0.5% in this aspect. what you are looking for the growth of your this business for next 5 years.
So on a longer term horizon, it's always better to have these professionals working for.
Definitely, you must have a good advisor with you at any time to get any help from them. It's starting from the business. You need a partnership firm, whether you need a LLP, whether you need a corporate, you need advisors, because what makes a sense, you need a sellable documents, you need a proper discipline in your business to develop and growth. So it's not that only their advice, you need to be disciplined in that way. As I said, there are 3 layers. So your grandfather give you the discipline structure in that way. So your professional will also give you how to be disciplined and what to comply with. It's not that you can start any day. You need a license, maybe a fire license, maybe a trade license or any other license for your sectors. So who will let you know? You may need more than 35 licenses, but maybe the person who is going to start their business, they don't know about those licenses. Your professional can help you in that way.
I was in fact coming to that. You have been repeatedly mentioning that one has to have a strong, paperwork to present before the bank and elsewhere, which also requires that your compliances should be properly maintained. And
Yes.
as you mentioned, for one particular product or project, you may need 35, 40 licenses. So, do you think that there are plethora of compliances which at times come in the way of smaller size companies to grow, because complying with so many norms, so many licenses, so many things, is there a need to cut down on that?
So there is a need to cut down, but due to we are in a phase manner, we are transition period, so it needs some of the licenses or some of the compliances which require to transit from one stage to another stage. So the government, you can say central or state, because central and state are different, the state statutes are different from the central, so we need to comply with the central as well as the state. And this is the requirement of our geographical, you can say, structure of the India in that way. But compliances is not for only you or not for the government, it's also for the socials. Why we require, I am saying in that way, pollutions, social, you can say pollutions is one of the part. Pollution may be central, may be state, but who will look after? So you need the pollution certificate in that way. You need the fire licenses also in that way. So you are also responsible yourself for the social activities. You cannot say that I am doing my business, you cannot say in that way. So there is a certain compliances you have to be. But yes, what you said, it should be reduced. Yes, it should be reduced. It should be at a one window shop. It should not be, we should not go to different licenses for 2 different offices. It should be at a one way, one window shop where we can go. If we apply for 5 licenses, that also at one window, and also 25 licenses, that also to be at one window. Like what the Ministry of Corporate Affairs have done. Now they have developed a SPICE forms. Now a person who is incorporating any company, they will get PAN number, they will get GST number, their bank account can also be open, and they can get any type of licenses which is required from the central government, like P-tax also and PF also. So you can get those. But nowadays we are facing those problems with the state government. So we need to be in a one platform where we can get all the licenses at a one time. If I decided to do the business, it should be done at a one time.
So there are certain things which were unheard of even couple of years ago, like now companies are having ESG, environmental goals, sustainability goals.
Yes.
Then for this also one needs to create a lot of awareness, because they do not know what is the sustainability goals are, what are the kind of norms one needs to follow. So professionals need to be equipped with these new norms as well.
50% agree. It's not that everybody is not aware. Everybody is aware. Maybe in the terms of ESG, or maybe from the social, or from the, you can say, as a Samaj Seva. We are doing everything in that way, but we are not aware about the policies. What the policies is requirement, policy, how we can do these things. If you want to help the society, you need to be in the policy. That is already in ESG. So environment sustainability growth is there in the, with the way climate is doing, with what we are seeing, that the 21 coronavirus was also there. Now we are looking for the China new virus is there.
GMP.
So ESG is one of the part of that particular precautionary measures for this type of diseases should not happen. And what I have said already, and the pollution was also part of ESG in that.
True.
So you have to be aware about those things. You are already aware, you are doing, but what to do and how to do and how to go ahead. That is what is ESG policy, which we have to follow. And every corporate now, BSC 500 also following the ESG policies. So corporate are also binded by the central government to look after those things where it is essential for the environment as well as for the sustainability growth in Canada.
And do you think that there is a need for what is called in today's parlance, train the trainer? Because you
It's
also
always train the trainer. As I am a chartered accountant, I am also learning today itself, what you have said, 2.5 decades, but I am learning today also. It's a train the trainer. Every day you have to be trained the trainer as well as trainer also to be trained. So everybody is getting training. So it's a train to the trainer also and train the person also in everybody.
So I was just going through this. Another very important aspect that you have been looking at or focusing on all these years: fraud detection, fraud control, forensic audit, and stuff like that. How do you see things are changing on these fronts? Do you see this coming down, or some mechanism to curb these?
So everything have an advantage and disadvantage. What we are showing, we have done the various type of forensic audit and fraud detection audits. We have found that there is maybe a malpractice or maybe a malified intention of the organization as well as the promoters. But there is a forensic audits which give you the upper hand in that way, where we can find out. But yes, you can say the perception of the non-performing assets and the loans, borrowings from that side also. Yes, there is nobody says that there is a malified intention at the time of borrowing.
True.
The practical situation of the environment as well as the financial crisis of the particular, you can say, industry makes them to do something which is not in compliance with the statutory things, or you can say within the guidelines of the sanction letters or guidelines of the governments. So there is an advantage and disadvantage. Everything, you are borrowing the loans, but if you are not following the norms, you are doing something wrong. So it's a part of the business as well as the risk.
So actually, if I am right or I got you right, one side is the borrowers, the other side is banks and other institutions who lend
the money. Yes.
So both of them need to be perfect and properly managed and maintained. Otherwise, frauds can take place at either side.
So either side, yes, definitely. But regulators are there who are looking after both the organization, borrowers as well as the lenders. So you can ensure that the regulators who have binded them and who is reporting to the regulator, they should report honestly. With respect to borrowers, with respect to lenders also.
And my last question to you would be corporate governance. How do you see these things improving? Whether there are proper governance in business. Some of the businessmen, they say we need governance, not government, but governance will have to be put in place in a rock solid manner. So
governance doesn't mean government.
no, absolutely.
It's totally.
That's what
If
the
they have
businessmen
the
also.
perception, it's not governance means government.
No,
It's
that's
a
what they say
corporate
also.
governance. After 2013 Companies Act, the corporate governance has totally changed. It's those who are responsible for the charge of the company, they are also as a responsible for the corporate governance. So the persons who are in the board, those who are in the committees, they are particularly responsible. They are the responsible person for the corporate governance as a whole. It's not for the company, it's for the society, for all the stakeholders like lenders, like equity shareholders, like vendors. They are responsible persons. If they they give their best and they provide all the responsibilities in the honest manner, I think there is a chances of lapses will be nil in corporate governance. So you can say we have changed from 2013 to 2024. It's almost 10 years, and we have shifted from there. What we were in 2013. Now everybody knows about the corporate governance, and those who charge with the corporate governance, they have to do their role and responsibility, because you can see from the corporate sector also there's an independent directors are there also. So independent directors are the part of the governance. They are also looking after that. And being as an auditor also have to report these things. And any other party which who are if they are looking into it, they have to report with the corporate governance in this respect.
So how important are whistleblowers in such cases?
So whistleblower is very important, because internal whistleblower are also there, external whistleblower is also there. Last year we have seen certain whistleblowers which make your Sensex may be up and down in that way. I am not commenting on that, but whistleblowers are also there, and they are most important part of the control in this aspect. If somebody have the idea about anything which is going wrong, the whistleblower is those person who whistle there before happening of any activity. It's not that
important.
after happening of activity. After happening of activity, there may be a control lapses, and before happening of something, we can control that lapses. So it's a mitigating of control, or whether you are taking after the control has happened, lapses of control you can say. So there is a whistleblower in that way, is most important part of our corporate sectors.
And overall, your final comment on whether Indian business is becoming more transparent, more regulated, or more properly managed?
Sir, yes, I will agree that it is more transparent after GST introduction and after GST regulators are there. It's more transparent now. You can see from our economy figures also, and from Sensex also, you can see we are flourishing. It's not that without any figure or without any regulatory manners we are going up. Its growth and development is attached with this only. So the growth is part of your statutory compliances, you can say, with the mandatory requirement of GST also, transparent manner, corporate governance, everything is contributing for the growth of India in that way.
Thank you so much. Let's conclude on this spirited note. I hope you all will agree, like Mr. Singhi said, that Indian business is inching towards more transparency, more properly managed sector, and going forward we need to believe that this transparency, growth, and maintenance of proper paperwork, these are all interlinked, and we will
Interlinked, yes, sir.
We will grow only once we maintain these things.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Singhvi.
Thank you, sir.
I
Thank
think
you
we'll
to
get
all the viewers also, and thank you to the you also in that way to give me this opportunity before you and before the viewers also in this.
I'm sure we'll get many such opportunities and talk about more intriguing things, more insights into corporate affairs, because you are the people who actually get inside, deep down the corporate functioning, so you get to know so many things, and real insights are there with you guys.
Yes. Definitely, wherever you require, you just let us know.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.